Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another monthly video with your pal Coach Busy. For the month of May, we will be talking about maintaining motivation. So just a very quick recap in our monthly videos so far. We've talked about instructional communication. We talked about letting go of mistakes, being a good teammate to yourself, and facing and embracing the challenge. Just as a note, your coaches all know my YouTube page because I send these videos out as a YouTube link. All of these videos are on my YouTube page. So if there's something that you're struggling with that kind of aligns with these, you could always go back and rewatch the videos or do these activities again. So in April, it was face and embrace the challenge. And honestly, I thought we did a really great job of this as a club. A quick song that I think kind of aligns with how we were as a club in April. We won a lot of championships. I believe there was 9. I went back and counted on the Instagram account, so I'm sorry if I missed one, which is why I didn't list them all, because I feel like I probably would have missed one and would have upset some people. But really great job to everyone that won a championship and everyone that placed really well at tournaments. We were top 3 in a lot of tournaments, top 2. We won a lot of championships. I thought it was a really great month. A lot of teams earned bids at qualifiers in April. So overall, awesome month for Milwaukee State Volleyball Club. And now we're at this point in the season when we only really have 2 or more tournaments, maybe 3, before nationals. So it's kind of a time where things are a little bit different for us now. So, which is why I wanted to this month, and some of the coaches noted in my monthly survey about motivation. I think it's important that we talk about maintaining motivation through the month of May. So a lot of our goals for this first part of the season were geared towards qualifiers and getting a bid. Now that we are done with qualifier season, we are now focused on nationals. So what does this mean for our motivation? So we are doing a lot more practices in May. I think some teams are traveling to Indy in May, but a lot of teams are staying local. So a little bit less travel. I know our team is really just practicing for the month of May, and then we have the tournament that everyone's in at the end of the month. So I think when we're in this sort of a grind, it's a little bit different. So I think it's important to maintain our motivation and be really goal focused still towards nationals. And I think every team's goal for nationals might look or sound a little bit different, but I know we all want to end up on the podium on day 4. So that's kind of our big goal for each team. So how do we maintain that motivation through maybe a slower month or a month that's not as much competition to come out on the other side in June and be ready to play our best volleyball of the year? We are going to be talking about maintaining motivation through imagery. I will talk about what that is. I added this picture of imagery because, man, wouldn't it be nice to be on a beach right now? I will use imagery to imagine myself on a beach because it's cloudy and I think 45 degrees outside right now and I can't stand it. So this is a good picture of what imagery is. For sports, it's a little bit different. So it's basically visualizing future good things happening. The visualization I always teach is future focused. I think when we put ourselves back in the past, it lends ourselves to good things too, remembering that we did good things, but for this, it'll be future focused. Our imagery must always be positive. So if you want to learn how to not make a mistake again, you would replay maybe the mistake in your head and be like, okay, I think on this pass, I popped up too quickly or swung my arms too much or whatever. And then you would imagine yourself actually doing it right the next time. When we're negative, we can slip into a place where we're imagining not great things happening and our worries kind of take over. So we want our imagery to be positive and we want it to be goal directed as well, which means anything we're imagining, we know that we have goals that we've set along the way to get there. So if your imagery is, or if your goal is to win nationals, you imagine yourself winning nationals, it's very goal directed because you know there's certain things you have to do to get there. Does imagery work? Yes, it really does. One of my favorite things I learned about in grad school was imagery can elicit the exact same feelings as actual experiences. So if you imagine yourself playing really well in a really great match, those same feelings that you have fire off the same things in your brain as if you actually are in the match doing it, if you use it correctly. So if you're doing all these things on this side of my screen about future focused and being positive and being goal directed, then it feels pretty good to use imagery. And I think it could be really effective. So we are going to do our activity for our video of the month, something I like to call nationals imagery. So if you're doing this on your own, or you're doing this even as a team, this part will be on your own. So I want you to, after I explain, pause the video, take a few minutes and imagine your team on the last day at nationals when everything is done. So I want you to write down where you will be, even if you put the gym in Indiana or on the podium or whatever, be very specific. Write down what you're wearing, what the gym looks like, everything you can kind of see around you in your head after your last match at nationals. Also write down what the gym sounds like, what you're hearing, maybe what people are saying to you. Write down your feelings, anything you would be feeling on the last day of nationals after your last match, and really anything else you want to note as detailed as possible. So this should not look like I am in Indiana, my team just won nationals, the end. It should be very specific, anything like you're putting yourself in that moment as best as you can. So take a second and do that as a team, do it individually, but I want coaches to have players share some of their responses just to see how it lines up for everyone when you're done. So go ahead and pause the video and then just resume when you are done. All right, next step, I want us to use what we just wrote and create an imagery script with this using I statements. So I gave some examples. I am on the podium with my team. I feel tired, but really happy. I passed really well in the final match. Just as examples. So creating an imagery script for yourself. It could just really be what you wrote. If you wrote them in I statements, or maybe there's things you want to circle and take from it, that could be your script. But I want you to take some time to rewrite it. And it doesn't have to be really, really long, but it should bring you back to the exact thing you just imagined on your own. If you're doing this as a team, you could still do the individual part. It's really up to coaches, but you could also create now a team imagery script that kind of aligns with your goals for nationals. So we did this skill really well that we've been working on, or we communicated after we made mistakes. We connected with each other. We got first in nationals, whatever it sounds like for you guys. So go ahead, again, pause the video and resume when you are done. All right, what is next? How can we use these scripts? First of all, I hope that felt pretty good to do. I hope it felt really cool to really put yourself into where you want your team to be at the end of the year. Imagery should feel pretty good. It's like daydreaming or using your imagination, but you're making it really specific, which makes it more effective. So once you have your scripts, I want us to be rereading these once a week or every time before you practice, just to get yourself towards the goal-oriented mindset. And the really important part about this is that I want us to continue to self-evaluate. So if I'm imagining my team 14 gold on the podium at nationals, I think like that is really awesome to imagine, but I want us to be really evaluating what we need to do to get there still. We can't just snap our fingers and get there. I can't just imagine that I'm there. What do we need to be doing differently in order to get to the spot you're at? So that could be specific volleyball skills you want to improve on them in the next month and a half. It could be other skills like talking more on the court. If you imagine yourself on the podium at nationals, what do you need to be doing every day at practice to get there? So make sure that we're kind of self-evaluating. You could write that part down if you want, just to kind of keep yourself accountable. And feel free to add to or edit your script really at any time as well. Some implications for coaches. Coaches, we can do this too. We can create an imagery script for our teams, imagining us at nationals on the fourth day. What does that look like? How do we feel? How does our team feel? What do we need to do? I think this is a great point in the season for coaches also to do some evaluation. What changes do you need to make as a coach that you think would help your team get to this place. We know everything that we do, our team is in mind. It's about our kids and about our teams. So if there's things that you really think you could change or do differently as a coach, this is a great time to think about it in order to get where you want to go. It's kind of a grind of the season. I think it's a great time to do this. Also reread our own scripts for practices. Another thing you could do as a team is kind of reset and set some team goals for the month of May for practices and for things that we just want to be doing really consistently to maintain motivation as well. So coaches, feel free to do this on your own separately from the video, but I think it's super helpful. I did it and I love it. I was super happy imagining my team where I want us to be. So it was a great couple minutes for me. And some things that I want our team to be doing each day for us to get to that point as well. Our big takeaway from our video in May is imagining the good makes us feel good and makes us play good. I don't think that's the proper grammar, but I just wanted to repeat the word good because this is important to remember. If we put ourselves in really good situations in our head, we're so much more likely to live up to them, as opposed to if we put ourselves in bad situations and then we kind of fulfill that prophecy in many ways. So let's imagine the good. Let's imagine nationals. I don't want us to just be thinking about nationals for the rest of the year and like really just getting there. We have to think about what steps it'll take to get to this spot in our imagery script. So continue to do some of that. As always, feel free to ask me questions if you guys need me, pull me over in the gym. Good luck to all the teams that are competing during the month, everyone else at the end of the month. And as per usual, go Sting.